Hello, friends. Thank you for joining me for this program designed to look at our government, how it works, and the people involved in its operation. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our new Economic Development Coordinator, Roger Salway. Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you, Dan. Good to meet you.
Thank you very much for joining me here.
Congratulations on the great work you do here.
Thank you. You too. And in your brief time, you've done a lot already.
26 days now.
That's incredible. So why don't we just start off by telling the people about you?
Sure. Try to be brief. I'm an engineer by training. Graduated from University of Manchester in the UK and became involved over time with a company called John Deere that you may know very well.
Heard of them.
And became responsible for their worldwide parts and service operations. And subsequently to that, I got transferred back to Europe by John Deere and was in charge of sales and marketing for John Deere for Europe and Africa and parts of Asia.
My,
and
that's half the globe.
Came home every now and then. It was pretty crazy.
Right.
Probably the toughest job I've ever done.
I can imagine.
All the languages, currencies, religions, and issues of farming and competition. It's quite different.
Oh. Okay. No problem.
All right.
All right, how's that? Go ahead.
I feel better connected now.
That's fine. Moving right along.
Moving right along. And so I spent some 12 years with John Deere, doing various things, obviously very much focused in helping Deere become the market leader they are throughout much of the world. Then I actually was invited to become the CEO of a major supplier to John Deere, which manufactured essentially heavy metal parts for John Deere.
My.
And it was a private company in serious disarray, third generation, falling apart. And we turned it around, made it pretty successful. And ultimately, the company was sold by the owners.
My, okay.
So I kind of retired.
So you thought?
So I thought. And my wife sort of encouraged me to get involved in nonprofit work. So there is an organization, a nonprofit in St. Paul called Compatible Technology International. And their job is to design simple agricultural mechanized devices, hand-operated in many cases, and help smallholder farmers get more productive. Because farming, whether it's John Deere or in a small farm in Africa, is all about improving productivity.
Sure.
That leads to economic well-being.
Sure.
So essentially, it was an economic development.
Sustainability.
Sustainability.
Right.
Made that pretty successful. Did a lot of work in West Africa. Decided 110 degrees and 95% humidity was pretty tough. So I did that for 4 years. We helped build a factory in India to make therapeutic food for malnourished kids, and that's still going strong. So that was good. And turned over the reins and retired again.
Okay.
Both of our kids graduated and moved to New York. Decided they weren't going to come back to Minnesota very often, so we started looking to move to the East Coast. So we bought a family farm.
Okay.
In the Catskills.
That's what you know.
That's what I know. So my kids said, well, figure out how to make this farm work. So we did that for a couple of years and then decided it was pretty remote and we wanted to be near the shoreline.
Okay.
And looked at trying to find what was the best small town in America, and it turned out to be Essex. So we've moved to Essex. Been there just over a year.
Fantastic.
So got the farm going, so looking at Essex, and my wife saw this ad in the Valley Courier that the Shore Publishing put in, and she said, take a look at this. And I said,
You're not retired yet.
So I applied, and here I am.
And here you are for 26 days and counting.
Right.
We have her to thank, I guess.
Okay.
How did you become involved in economic development?
Really started with the work in Africa. That you really can't just do one thing without looking at the impact on the economy of a community. So if you help a farmer, then you have to see what the farmer can do in post-harvesting. What can you do to process that corn or those sunflowers into sunflower oil? So you start to create a chain.
Yeah.
And so we were really creating entrepreneurs in a small way, and they in turn were generating income to help pay for healthcare and send their kids to school. So it was really an economic development.
Right. It's a
program.
fantastic circle, I guess.
Yeah,
When you can complete it, it's a success.
Yeah.
So basically, then, what does an economic development coordinator do for the town of North Branford, for example?
I think the answer is I'm the first one to try it.
Okay.
So
we'll see.
So we'll see.
A work in progress.
But
yeah.
in the first 26 days or so, I've met a lot of people, some very good people, obviously, in the town hall itself. Great people to work with, the town manager, town planners, engineers, recreation, and many others that I won't go on with because you know them. And sort of find out what's been done and what are some of the frustrations.
Okay.
And the constraints, such as budgets. I mean, it's obviously a constraint. Spent some time in Hartford talking to State Department, Economic Development up there, technology councils, met with the Shoreline Chamber, and sort of generally try to find out what people feel is an issue in terms of a weakness in the communities.
Or what the constraints are and how do we address them.
Right.
So we can be freed of them.
So sort of what I would call a needs assessment.
Okay. What are you working on now to start with?
Well, partly because of my background.
Right. In manufacturing.
Manufacturing. And manufacturing today is like manufacturing 4.0. It's changed so much from heavy metal and, big presses and a lot of hands-on work. Today, the key is in precision manufacturing, computer-driven
That is one of
processing.
Connecticut's, this region's strengths.
And it needs to be promoted so much more.
Right.
I mean, you have the aerospace alley, you have medical device companies. There's just a whole bunch of potential business here. And I've met some of them. And the frustration I'm hearing is not so much the business isn't there, but we can't find the talent.
A talent shortage.
Talent shortage of folks with sort of precision manufacturing backgrounds.
Okay.
So I'm kind of getting involved in trying to figure out how to do something about it.
Okay. Would some of that potentially be involved with maybe interacting with the school administration as
I
far
think
as?
so. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't been involved yet with
I mean, it's early, but
the Board of Education. I'm sort of starting from who needs the service, who needs them, and what kind of background, what kind of curriculum would that mean in terms of the school, all the way through from high school into community colleges, and maybe into a dedicated, I would call it an advanced manufacturing technology center.
yeah.
And why not here?
And why not here?
And almost sort of do a blueprint and show the state and hopefully get the state to help and maybe get some of the major manufacturers to participate.
Sure.
Have a blueprint that could then be replicated across the state.
Okay. So would you like to discuss a little bit your North Branford manufacturing revitalization?
Well, we're doing some work.
Ideas?
It's still not too public.
Okay.
The colleague that I'm working with used to be the co-chair of President Obama's Manufacturing Council and is himself a owner of 4 or 5 companies that are in precision manufacturing. So has a lot of personal background in that. He and I worked together on the project in India, so we know each other in good times and bad times. And he has drafted an outline for a blueprint that we're looking at right now.
Fantastic. So your focus, I guess, right off the bat is, that's kind of like a regional concern.
Right.
Locally speaking, what would you think our concerns are, and our immediate concerns are? I know you're discussing with the Economic Development Commission, you want to focus on local business retention and expansion, potentially.
Right.
And that involves a lot of communication with our local business and the chamber, as you said.
Right.
So how do you go about facilitating that?
I think that the first thing is to meet some of them, and
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to do. Big and small, whether it's Evergreen Woods or Tilcon, some of the ones that I just mentioned that are in precision manufacturing. And by sort of having some understanding of their needs and expansion plans and concerns about being here.
Right. And what can we do
So
to
try to-
accommodate them as a town?
Exactly, and if some of them are looking to expand, looking at options for them.
What issues then do you see a concern the town, like diversity? Is that a concern? When you drive around, what do you see? Like I know we have some constraints when it comes to like sewer and water access,
Right,
for example.
right.
That's a structural concern.
Yeah, to me, it's an engineering challenge,
Yeah.
and there's always a solution
Right.
somewhere, but it takes money.
Just takes money.
And so it's a matter of focus. If, for example, we are focusing on agriculture, I mean, this is a strong, historically strong agricultural community. What can we do to help make that more successful? We're working on promoting the agritourism. I'm working directly with the recreation team up there in Northwood.
Laura Monroe.
That's right, and trying to get some more visibility, working with the Shoreline Chamber, trying to get more visibility, bringing people. I mean, people is what North Brantford needs. People in manufacturing, people coming through in tourism, people buying houses or renting apartments.
Wanting to stay here, wanting to live here.
People generate revenue.
Right. Wanting to raise their families here, go to
Sure,
schools
good
here.
schools, sports complex, the sportplex, the ice rink, all great ways of bringing people to the community. So focus on really getting people to come through the community rather than drive through.
Okay, right. And it's a matter of, supplying services to the people that live here as well, both products and services.
Right.
We don't want to always have to go to other towns for basic needs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's the Big Y, which is
Lucky
meets
we
a
have
need.
that, right,
Okay.
sure.
There are some empty properties, as we know, in Central Plaza that need to be addressed,
right.
And find the right kind of tenant, if you like, to go in there.
Sure.
There's some green spaces that we need to decide, do we preserve them? And frankly, I'm a big conservationist. I'm all in favor of land trusts. I'm on the Essex Land Trust. We have to preserve what makes the area unique in itself, which is green space.
And that's quality of life,
and we need to promote that. Put signs out saying this is Northland Farms, and you're now in North Brantford rather than drive through and didn't even know it.
Right.
So some of those things, are very simple things, but it's kind of branding, creating a bit of an image.
Yeah, developing some sort of identity so people know where they are.
Right.
And then we develop, maybe what we have to offer. Tell people what we have to offer.
Right. Housing is another issue. If you look at the reason young people are leaving the community, there's not really multi-unit apartments available.
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, not necessarily distressed affordable, but people in their 30s who don't necessarily feel they're ready to buy a property of their own do need good
rental property
that's somewhat luxurious, has amenities, has sort of
for people that are in transition, perhaps.
Right. So doing some discussion with some developers on that kind of approach.
Are you involved? Do you have communication with property developers and realtors? I mean, on the Economic Development Commission, there are some realtors on that commission, and you meet with them once a month, correct?
Right, but I'm meeting probably a developer and a realtor every day.
Wow, fantastic.
Obviously can't share too much because
of course.
It's just ideas being put forward, which is great.
And they can give you a better idea as to what is available in our region, too.
Right, they've got great market feel. They know how much the rent market is and how much you pay for a two-bedroom unit, say, in North Brantford. The kind of folks that would be looking for that, they could be young professionals and also adults who no longer have family involvement. So it doesn't necessarily stress the school issue, which can be a cost.
Sure. Speaking of costs, you are a new department. Do you have a budget, or is the budget just you? And
I think it's just me at this point.
This much, okay.
Right. If I go to the Shoreline breakfast, it's me.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
But that's not an issue. I mean, at this point, this is very new. It's a two-way experiment between the town, and I'm hoping to make something useful happen.
And you are communicating with the state government as well, correct? Or you're developing those relationships. I mean, this is really unfair to you to some degree because you've been here 26 days.
We had the regional director come and visit us just last week and talk about their view of North Brantford, which
Right.
I wasn't terribly happy about. But
Okay.
I don't want to be critical of the state government. at
Right,
this point.
right.
Not seeing a lot of imagination.
Okay.
Status quo is not the solution. You got to grow or you die.
Right, and it's not, and the status quo is obviously not working.
Right.
What are you looking forward to seeing here in the near future? Do you have any?
Well, most of these things are not overnight,
Right, sure.
and there's always a lot of issues to address. Whether
Sure.
it's zoning or engineering issues or even neighborhood issues that need to be addressed. And I don't know the way the municipal government works too well, so I'm learning from that. I've been in some meetings with developers, and it's great to see the openness of the town in trying to address some of the issues with the developers. And if something comes up as a constraint, it's not the end of the world. We'll figure out how to do it.
Figure out a solution. So it's
Yeah.
a solutions-based relationship, ideally.
Right, right.
So far, what do you like most about North Brantford? I mean, I know you've met a lot of the department heads, and that's why we have this show, is to introduce the different department heads to the public.
Right.
You being amongst them now,
Right.
you're a department of one.
They're a great group. I mean, they're tolerating me at this point, so it's fine. I'm obviously going to put my foot in a mess every now and then because I just don't have a background in municipal government.
And that's called communication as well.
Sure. And, everybody from the town manager, town planner have been super helpful. And it's a great place to work.
Carrie Dukes
Yeah.
is the building planner,
Yes.
correct? And so she's kind of responsible for correlating all the different properties that may be for sale.
Right.
And she's communicating that information with you
Right.
also.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time in each other's company. I mean,
Okay.
I'm at one end of the building, she's at the other end. It's our workout regime now.
Right, nice. It'll
and,
keep you healthy.
And very helpful. She's very much involved with this thing with me, this manufacturing revitalization. I see this as probably a very critical thing for North Brantford. And, with Carrie and many other people's help, we're going to try to push it forward, including perhaps some of our local representatives.
Sure. We need representation,
Yeah,
both from the chamber and from the government.
and from the government.
Absolutely. In incentives, I know we do have an economic development corridor on Route 80.
Yes.
And we do also have one on Route 22 up in Northford.
Right.
And so that involves a lot of tax deferral
Right.
for people that are going to expand and develop.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work in other communities? Or?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, part of my job description, if you like, is grant writing.
Okay, fantastic.
So number one is expansion and retention. Number two is finding new players to come into the community.
New opportunities.
Such as that.
Right.
And number three is grant writing, and that's probably 20% of my kind of responsibility. You can't write a grant until you know what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, I've written some $250,000 grants before with Rockefeller Foundation and others. So it's not so much I haven't done it, it's making sure you know what you want to do and having a great story to justify the ask.
Having a vision.
Having a vision. Now, there are federal economic development grants, which I don't think we've ever been involved in. That might support something like economic revitalization and manufacturing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's certainly state grants. There may be even private foundation grants.
Sure.
So at this point, it's in my portfolio.
To try and capture that.
To try to capture that when we know what it is we want to do.
Okay. So what else would you like to add about your vision for, this is a new experiment. So again, I don't want to put you on the spot. I want to be fair.
No, I think we need
There's
more,
a lot of pressure.
We need more visibility.
Okay, yes.
I mean, and your program is great. There are great things coming. The Poco Fest is coming.
Right.
I don't know, maybe
That's a fantastic event.
25,000 maybe.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Taste of Brantford preceding the Poco Fest, in which we're going to invite the chamber members as well as businesses that we know here in North Brantford and Northford. We need some visibility for some of those things. These are things that attract people. I mean, the interesting fact I learned the other day is that 30% of the visitors to Connecticut live in New York City. Why don't we tell New York City we're here? Go and take a look at the farm stands.
Sure.
Try the vineyards.
Sure.
Try the nurseries.
Right. Try our eateries.
You need to tell them that we're here.
You know, it kind of sometimes it benefits us when 95 backs up because people are kind of forced to go off the beaten path, and then they can see that what we have to offer.
No, that wasn't a deliberate tactic of mine to block 95.
Right. No. Right. That won't be done purposely.
Okay.
This is a positive, perhaps.
But I think we do need to tell the world. I mean, the world here is between New York and Boston, that we're here.
That we're here. And we have a lot to offer.
And if we can put something together that's an advanced manufacturing education unit, that will bring people here and bring manufacturers here and also be a source to the big players.
And when you look regionally, I mean, look what North Branford has to offer. I mean, we're 15 minutes away from the best hospitals on earth.
Right.
Right? We have a lot of biomed, you know, in the region.
Sure.
You know, and we're right by the water.
Right.
And then plus, you know, we're an hour and a half between New York City and Boston.
Sure.
Providence. So regionally speaking, I mean, I think we got one of the best.
And we have a lot of green space.
A lot of green space, too.
People may not want to be in New York and happily come out here. Maybe, you know, commute in on, I mean, there's train access.
Right. I mean, the train is within 5 minutes of drive.
Good schools, good sports facilities.
Right. Sports, you know, the schools, you know, the best thing about our schools is the staff. They're dedicated, loving staff.
Right.
Dedicated to see our students succeed in the future.
Right.
And then with your ideas as, you know, where our needs are. I mean, for a while, nursing was a need, and the society addressed that to some degree. Now we have this other need. Maybe we can address that in short term.
Yeah, if we can bring manufacturing back, but, you know, precision manufacturing that requires pretty good skills. When you think about who has those skills right now, it's probably the most expensive country in the world, which is Germany and Japan. But they export their products because they have precision advanced manufacturing.
Right, and they have the skills.
And we've lost that. You know, we need to bring that back.
Right. I mean, I work in precision manufacturing, and it's not, they're technical centers.
Right.
You know, they're not the factories of yesteryear where it's dirty and it's smoky. That's gone.
And we have to sort of help change the image.
Right. But again, it's, you know, many times advanced manufacturing can be just like an office space.
Yeah, sure.
So.
And pays very well.
And pays good. Yeah. You know, it's sustainable. You know, it keeps people staying here.
But you can afford a suit. I can't.
I can. It's my one. Anybody that knows me has seen it before. It's better than none, though, I guess, right?
Right.
Well, what else would you like to offer? We have, you know, we're running good.
I'm just happy to be here. And,
I'm thrilled that you're here.
And thank you for promoting us. I mean, this is a big part of what we need to do.
So perhaps we can see you in 6 months or so, and after the festival, and things wind down after the summer, and you know we can go over maybe what's transpired. Hopefully, you've gotten made some progress with the state, with the chamber, you know, and with developers as well.
Yep.
To help sustain our town.
I hope to do that.
It was a real pleasure meeting you, sir.
Dan, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
So thank you all. Oh, we need your contact information for people.
Okay.
So that being said, thank you all for joining us. Please email me at danarminnb@gmail.com with any questions or ideas you may have for the show. Please help sustain Tutucket TV, which serves our community in video, like this show, and please help sustain Tutucket Times, which sustains our town in print.
It's EDC.
Rogers communication is edc@townofnorthbranford.ct.com, and we'll put that up if we can. Thank you again, sir.
Thanks, Dan.